like to welcome Tom Kim to the interview room here at the 2024 Shriners Children's Open. Tom, obviously you're the defending champion, but not just the defending champion, but two-time defending champion. So I guess the first question would be, you know, looking to become a three-peat winner, first person to do that since 2011. What do you think your chances are, and how would that sit with you being a part of history like that?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty. It's a very, very cool week. Just to be even having a chance of that, I think that's the coolest part. You know, game's in a good spot. You know, obviously my last event was at the President's Cup, so you know, game's feeling really good. You know, obviously we're gonna have some weather, so just trying to be, you know, really focused on my game plan for the next few days and try to, you know, just have a shot on Sunday would be amazing.
Yeah, you mentioned the weather. Just some heavy winds forecast early on Friday morning, I think it is. How do you change your strategy or deal with that?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, the golf course is obviously, as we know, it's very, very gettable, and when you have a completely different wave, it's, you know, you might be able to fall back, but you know, you gotta be able to adjust with the cards that you've been dealt with, and you know, again, like I said, just being able to hopefully on whatever I do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, if I can just have a shot on that back nine, that'd be amazing.
And just before we take questions, tee times and pairings just came out, and I noticed that you're playing with Kevin Yu and Matt McCarty, the last two winners on tour. What do you look forward to about that, and have you met Matt before?
No, I haven't. Obviously, I've heard he's had an unbelievable year. Backed it up with a win last week, so congratulations to him. And it's going to be good. I think those guys obviously came back-to-back weeks winning, and you know, I haven't won since here last year, so I'm going to be able to see some good golf and maybe, you know, pick up a few things.
Maybe you can make it a three-peat in a different manner. We'll take a question from Cameron. We'll just get a microphone to him. Thank you.
Hey, Tom. We talked in Memphis, and you were saying you were pretty tired and really needed to kind of rebuild a little bit. I think at one point you played 9 straight weeks in the summer. Was the lesson from this year that maybe you overscheduled a little bit, and have you had the chance to kind of refuel and get rested and get ready?
Well, I just didn't have a choice, right? With the whole new schedule now, the difference between being, you know, 50 and 51st it's a big difference. And I was, I think, 96th, you know, higher 90s before I started that 9-week stretch, so I had to. And I think that's, it's such a good product now that good golf gets rewarded. Good golf, you're able to take 3-4 months off and not worry about anything. Bad golf, you gotta pick your butt up as soon as once the playoff starts and try to play well in the fall. So, you know, I had a lot of things on the line this year. I think that's why, you know, maybe some consistency, like consistent part of my games were a little bit off, because it wasn't just golf. There was a lot of outside stuff that played in it, and I think 2024 was a big learning step to my career. I was dealt with some tough situations, and I've thought I handled it as good as I could have. You know, I played as much as I could have, and I've prepared as much as I could have, and I actually played really well. You know, I felt like I made, you know, 9-10 changes, you know, before I started that 9-week stretch. So making changes and playing 9 weeks in a row was really difficult. But I felt like, you know, I put my head down and got to work, and you know, definitely trended very, very, you know, very well at the last end of the year. And it sucks to finish 51st, but from where I was from before that, you know, I couldn't do anything better.
And then, like, I know you mentioned that you had the President's Cup. Obviously, we saw you out there doing your thing. But it's been a couple months almost since Memphis. Have you had any time to get some R&R, and what have you been able to do? And then how focused are you on that FedEx number? Because I think you're 55 at this point.
Yeah, I think so. Ever since Memphis, I don't know how many weeks that is. I played once in the last 7-8 weeks, right? If that's correct, since Memphis. So I've had some nice time off. I'm kind of coming back to seeing again. You know, I'm seeing, you know, life again outside of golf, which is really cool. I got to be able to go home to Korea for 4 days after the playoffs, and President's Cup I felt like was a really good week for me, being able to, because going off of that stretch and taking 4 weeks off and then playing President's Cup at a high intense level, to be able to kind of perform pretty well in my eyes was good to see, and just showed my little off-season work kind of coming to brightness. So for that FedEx number, there's a lot of ways to look at it. For me, the way I'm looking at it is, if I can play good golf next year, it's not going to make a difference, because I looked at my elevated event stats, and other than Travelers, I didn't play well in any of them. So I made most of my points at Travelers and then outside of Travelers. So that's made me realize, okay, playing good golf outside the elevated events can get you to a certain point, but if I can play well enough, I'll get into elevated events, and good golf there is going to elevate me even more.
Go ahead, Brian.
Brian Hurlbert, Las Vegas Golf Insider and Sports Illustrated Golf. Last year, after you won for the second time in a row as a 21-year-old, I asked you, how are you going to celebrate? You talked about the chocolate, kind of went viral. A couple questions. How was the chocolate, and did you see all the social media about your answer?
Yeah, that was, it was a very, very, just a very pure, honest, reply from me. That's exactly what I did. It definitely tasted very, very sweet. I can still remember it. It was back to back, and having that last piece, because I saved it on Saturday night, it was very sweet. And hopefully, I don't have a piece of chocolate with me this week, but we'll find something else to celebrate.
And did you see all the social media? It was made full swing, that whole deal?
Yeah, it got a lot of positive comments, and again, like I said, at that time, I don't really see why, because it was just a very pure, honest. I wasn't trying to make anything out of it. It was just a very real answer for me. But nice to see how people liked it.
And one more follow-up. 1983, this was the first $1 million purse in PGA Tour history. Don't know if you're aware of that, but now flash forward 41 years. Obviously, the money is astronomical. How do you wrap your head around how much money you're playing with and kind of stay focused with all the craziness around all the talk of money?
As a player, it's something to be very grateful for, because everyone works to provide for someone or for themselves, whoever it is. And as a professional golfer, to be able to play, not only try to achieve your goals, but to have bonuses like a lot of prize money, it definitely is rewarding. I've been very grateful to be a part of this generation, where the money has now become, overwhelming now. But it's, like I said, I'm very grateful, and I'm very fortunate to be where in my life.
What does your schedule look like after this week for the rest of the fall?
So I'm actually going to play in Korea next week. That's going to be really cool. I haven't been back home, played in front of my hometown crowd since basically before I got to the PGA Tour. So it's been 2.5 to 3 years, and I'm going to play that next week, and then I'll play an event in Hong Kong, and then finish the year at Tigers event and at Grant Thornton.
Anything further? Michael, do you have one?
Tom, just curious, knowing this was your first title defense last year, not being able to do it at Wyndham, was there a different mindset that you employed that you felt made you more successful? Just being a different deal coming in as the defending champion. Anything that really stood out to you from your approach last year?
No, not really. I took it really the same week as I did. Dry heat definitely gets me a little off. The last 2 years I gotten sick every week because of the dry heat. I never grew up in dry heat. I was always in humidity, so I find a way to get sick. But I've been doing so good so far. It's only been 2 days, but we'll see how the week goes. But I think the last 2 years, because of the way I was feeling, I was just so focused on just getting my job done instead of thinking about trying to win. Because this course is made for making a lot of birdies, right? So it finishes. I shot, I think, 19 or 20 last year, and shot 24 the previous year. So there's a lot of birdies out there, and I can remember for the whole week, I never worried about trying to make more birdies. I was just thinking about following myself around the golf course and taking advantage of the holes that you need to take advantage.
Getting back to the course a little bit, what's the first thing that comes to your mind about TPC Summerlin, and why do you think you play it so well?
I think it's taking advantage. You know, you have some holes where you know there's par threes are pretty long. You got some tough par fours, but then if you kind of plot yourself pretty well, you know, the first 12 holes, you get to 13. It's very, very accessible par 5. You got a really short par 3, and then you got a drivable par 4, and then you got another par 5 right away. So there's a lot of birdies out there. You just have to pick and choose when you want to attack, because you could play the most boring round of 6 under here. It's possible, because good ball striking gets rewarded. The greens are so perfect that, you know, it stays on your line. So I think that's why I've been able to do well, is because, again, it's not the longest of golf courses, so I can kind of, you have to plot your way around, and you can't just hit it 180 ball speed and hit it everywhere. You have to hit it straight. That's been the strength of part of my game, and again, just you have to stick to your game plan and be pretty smart.
Tom, you've had a lot of good moments here at TPC Summerlin, obviously, but is there one particular shot that stands out to you in the last couple of years?
That's a good question. I think 2022, that was probably the worst. I felt the worst in a while. So I can't remember a lot of shots, but I think last year on 15, I missed my drive right, and I had that chip, a little awkward downhill chip, and I think I was tied for the lead, or I had a one-shot lead, but I could have made bogey easily. But I hit a really good chip. I made birdie, which kind of gave me some room with the bunch up. You know, I think there's like 7 guys bunched up, and it kind of gave me a little breathing room to attack 16, because I didn't birdie 16. I 3-putted 16, and I parred my last 3 holes. But that birdie allowed me to make one mistake coming in and eventually win by 1.
All right. If we have anything further to Tom, we appreciate your time and good luck this week.
Perfect. Thank you so
All
much.
right, thanks.